Hi, my name's Jonathan Cooke, and I voice Craig Johnson in Anonymous Agony. I've been asked to answer a few questions for you guys and do this little interview, so let's get to it. Number one, any words of advice for aspiring actors or actresses? I guess my main word of advice would be to always keep learning. It doesn't matter how long you've been doing this or how good you get. You can always learn some more from somebody. There's a ton of different people doing this, and they're all doing it a different way. And somebody's got a better way of doing something, and whether it be editing or recording or equipment or getting into character or just acting methods, there's all sorts of stuff to learn, and you can always be better at it. Um, and I would say never give up. Always keep at it. It gets discouraging sometimes doing this when you don't land a few auditions in a row, and you start to kind of doubt yourself. But just keep at it. If you love doing it, then keep doing it. And there's going to be the perfect role that comes along for you that no one else can do except you. And you just have to keep trudging along until you get to it. And another character, and another character, and another character. But doing voice acting, it's hundreds of auditions for a few parts that you get. So it definitely takes some diligence. So keep at it and keep learning would be my two big things. Let's see. Describe your impression of your character. My impression of Craig is that he's a pretty laid back, kind of stoic guy. Being a policeman, he's seen a lot of stuff, and he's seen a lot of stuff in his own life, and so he's got quite a bit of baggage, and I think because of that has a lot of walls built up around him, so he doesn't expose his vulnerable side. He doesn't show emotion a whole lot, or at all. um, he seems very emotionless at times, but he still cares very deeply for people and still wants to help people very much. Um, so yeah, let's see. What's my favorite thing about my character? My favorite thing about Craig is that he and I are kind of similar in that, I don't always express a whole lot of emotion either. Um, I don't have the baggage that he does. I don't have the same things that he's gone through by any means, but I've just never been one to express a whole lot of emotion, which is kind of strange for an actor who's always supposed to be in touch with their emotions and whatnot. But I guess that's why they call it acting. And when it comes time to act out an emotion, I can act an emotion. But in my regular day-to-day life, I don't show a whole lot of emotion, I guess. So I can relate to him on that. And so it's pretty easy to kind of slip into his character and just be super laid back, and which I've always been described as very laid back and easygoing. So I kind of draw from that when I'm voicing Craig. How did you start voice acting, and how long have you been doing it? Gosh, I've been voice acting now for 10 or 11 years. I don't exactly remember what year I started or when I started. I got into it just kind of stumbling on a couple of voice acting sites. I was always kind of interested in voice acting, and I loved cartoons growing up and trying to imitate the characters and that kind of stuff. And then just happened to stumble upon a couple of voice acting discussion boards. I think Voice Acting Alliance and Voice Acting Club and Newgrounds at the time. And just suddenly discovered this community of people voicing all sorts of projects, and a lot of it just for fun. They're free projects or for hobby stuff. And I thought, well, that sounds like fun. I'll try that. And so I bought myself a cheap microphone. I think my first one was a Blue Snowball, and started auditioning and ended up landing a few parts here and there, and then was able to actually land a couple of paying jobs, which was really cool because then I was able to use that money to upgrade my equipment gradually. And when you do that, then you can kind of go after bigger jobs, and then you can upgrade your equipment again, and and it sort of goes on from there and there. But yeah, I first got into it from those original old discussion boards. I don't even think Voice Acting Alliance is even around anymore, and Voice Acting Club is still there and still very active. But yeah, it was years ago that I just kind of found those websites and got involved. Let's see. What are some things you do to get into character? Well, that depends a lot on the character. Like for Craig, for example, I don't really have to do a whole lot. I just kind of do myself, but just sort of draw it back a little bit because, he's very emotionless and kind of sounds tired all the time. And so I just have to kind of, rein in myself a little bit. And whatever emotion I do show, I just kind of don't show it. If, there's like some really wacky, zany character out there, then you have to kind of get into that mindset. And, I may even, depending on what's going on in the scene, run around the room and be crazy for a minute in order to kind of get into that just being silly kind of thing. And you always have to, of course, look at the script and know your character and who they are, and know who you're talking to and what's going on, so you can act and react and all that stuff. But in order to get into that character, you kind of have to just start thinking like they do for a minute. And so yeah, I guess that's probably not helpful at all. Let's see. If you had to be any giant mascot, what would you be? I'm not exactly sure. That's a tough one. If I had to be a giant mascot, I would want to be something that people liked, that they found kind of, cuddly and warm. I like hugs. I'm all for that, but I wouldn't want to be the mascot that people like to run up and kick from behind when they run away, kind of thing. So yeah, just a mascot that people enjoy being around and like. So something kind of cuddly, friendly, and warm. Yeah, I guess that's all I can think of on that one. That's a deep question, I'm sure. I'm just not very deep. Anyway, I guess that's about it. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy Anonymous Agony.